sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready.
No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This
will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover's here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to support the show, support SHR Media, maybe, go to reaver.1/shop. Less than a week we have. 6 days left of this. But of course, in 7 days, we'll start hearing from all the mainstream media about the 2020 election. That's the scary part. This kind of shocked me. And last night, I think Hillary's in more trouble than I was thinking. I find it funny that President Obama and Elizabeth Warren have scrubbed their Twitter of Hillary Clinton. They're no longer following Hillary Clinton. Now, I heard earlier in the day that it was a glitch from Twitter that caused them to not be following anymore. But upon inspection of their actual Twitter, lo and behold, they scrubbed Twitter. Not with a cloth, not with a scrub brush. They removed pretty much anything Hillary. That says a lot. Whether you think it or not, that says a lot. They are so unhappy at this point that they have removed her from their Twitter feed. Now, we've talked about, and I played the videos for you on about the polls. Now, I find it funny. In less than a week, Trump has made up the full distance. In less than a week, they had pulled in the distance. And these polls are a joke. A joke. Now, already, Project Veritas has real quick, do you know what's funny on these polls? When you look, like Fox just put up a bunch of polls, and it's the race for North Carolina, likely voters. Not all voters, just the likely voters. You got to look at the data underneath to get the true sense of what they're talking about. They are screwing with these polls. Now, technically, are they lying? No. But are they telling you the whole truth? No. It's... That one video from Project Veritas says it all, where they have the pollster, that quote-unquote expert, telling the union heads to lie about the polls and that Hillary is ahead, even though they acknowledge that the Republicans are kicking the shit out of the Democrats. Obama's now crying, it's sexism. That's why people aren't backing Hillary. No, you moron. They're not backing her because she is a worthless candidate. And the Twitter trolls are out in droves for Hillary. They are out to do damage control. And it's almost comical. Almost. Let's see, where are we? There's a new Project Veritas video. And let me cue that up.
You know the Sandra Commando?
Yes.
Jewish guards who in effect helped murder Jews in the camp so they could live alone. So there were even Jews who were helping the Nazis murder Jews.
Same thing?
So blacks who are sort of helping the other side, they're equally fucked in the United States. They're really helping the enemy who want to destroy them. Maybe thinking that if I help them it'll be different and maybe, I'll get off okay or somehow I'll save my race by working for the murderers.
Wow. So that's what they think of us.
So blacks who are sort of helping the other side, they're equally fucked in the United States. They're really helping the enemy who want to destroy them. Maybe thinking that if I help them it'll be different and maybe, I'll get off okay or somehow I'll save my race by working for the murderers.
I consider it an insult to have to see those accusations and to hear that type of discussion is insulting to me as an African American.
Deborah Ross should be called to task for something.
I agree. The Democrat Party takes the African American vote for granted. They don't offer us anything.
So blacks who are sort of helping the other side, they're equally fucked.
To see those accusations and to hear that type of discussion is insulting to me as an African American.
That because we don't have ID, they just won't vote. That makes absolutely no sense.
Republicans know African Americans are less likely to have the ID, so they won't vote.
Wow. So that's what they think of us.
It's why people hate politics. People go to Washington and are just in it for themselves.
Deborah Ross is a Democrat running for the Senate from North Carolina. We met her and some of her donors at a fundraising event on the Upper West Side of New York City, September 19th.
What's the deal with the Republicans with the voter ID? I don't understand why they keep fighting.
Republicans know that young people, African Americans, and women are less likely to have the ID, so they won't vote.
So they make it hard for them to...
Yes. It's Jim Crow. Just put the roadblock.
Ms. Ross says she wants to support the African American voter. But when we started talking with two of her supporters and donors, we heard comments about black voters that absolutely floored us.
So it's like they're voting against their self-interest.
Yes, absolutely.
Even if you had like a black Republican or somebody, like voting, it's
exactly. It doesn't make sense. You're voting against your own.
Like, I mean, I'm sure.
In the name of change, what is the change?
I'm sure someone like Ben Carson is a nice guy. I'm sure he is. He may be not a fundamentalist, but maybe a nice guy. But it's like you're voting with a party that wants wants to oppress you.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my...
They don't believe in climate change. They don't believe, in social justice and human rights.
Our journalist was speaking with Leah and Benjamin Barber. Mr. Barber is a well-known political theorist and author. And he is a major donor to Democrats, and specifically to Hillary Clinton.
But you think, as like a black man, you think that they would vote for
the Holocaust?
Well, it depends on, well...
You know the Sandra Commando?
Yes.
You know the Sandra Commando?
Yes.
Jewish guards who in effect helped murder Jews in the camp so they could live alone. So there were even Jews who were helping the Nazis murder Jews.
Same thing?
So blacks who are sort of helping the other side, they're equally fucked in the United States. They're really helping the enemy who want to destroy them. Maybe thinking that if I help them it'll be different, and maybe I'll get off okay, or somehow I'll save my race by working for the murderers.
We thought it was important to share Mr. Barber's comments with African-American Republicans in North Carolina.
Thoughts on that?
Wow. So that's what they think of us. I'm speechless for the most part. It's wrong. It's an eye-opener. But that's what happens when we, as blacks, vote a majority just for one party.
So as an African-American voter, do you feel like that you would be a traitor to your own race
Absolutely
if you were to vote for a conservative Republican candidate?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I think I'm benefiting my race by voting against the Democrat Party takes the African-American vote for granted. They don't offer us anything.
I think that Deborah Ross have shown her true colors.
Yeah.
Now, if this is not, if what you just showed me is not racism and condescending and basically calling blacks stupid and ignorant and saying that we're voting against our own self-interest, if we support any Republican, I am appalled, I am incensed, and Deborah Ross should be called to task for something like that.
I'm very disappointed in her. I consider it an insult to have to see those accusations and to hear that type of discussion is insulting to me as an African American.
It's not only dark money, it's racist and evil money filled with venom. There's obviously an agenda there. And you can look in his eyes in the video. You can see there's a rage there, and there's a deep-seated resentment towards African Americans. This is unbelievable. I cannot believe that such a thing was said about minorities.
Thoughts on that?
Wow. I mean, that is horrific. I mean, to even allow those words to come out of your mouth concerning us as African American folk, to think that we are voting for someone and referencing that to the Jews with the Nazis, I am appalled by that comment.
Yeah.
I have no respect for Ms. Ross and allowing him to be in her corner, and I believe that if he said those things, she in some way share the same values.
I don't believe that African Americans should support her.
Well, I think that she should give the money back.
Bishop Wooden says that Deborah Ross should be taken to task about Mr. Barber's comments. We wonder, will Deborah Ross and Hillary Clinton's campaign ignore this video, or will they renounce the comments and return the money? Why don't you ask them?
Now, if you go to either James O'Keefe or Project Veritas on Twitter, they have the email and Twitter accounts for several, for John Podesta, Jennifer, communication director for Hillary for America, and Robbie Mook, his Twitter and email, to ask them if they're going to return the money. It's the Democrat Party for you people. It's the Democrat Party. I really don't have anything to add to it. I mean, it's... I am appalled. It is... Oh, and while that was playing, I was looking over stuff, and I find it funny that there's these trolls, and they keep talking about this rape case of a child Trump's going to be convicted of. It's a blatant lie. Blatant lie right there. For number one, the case that was brought against Trump is a civil, not a criminal. That's how fucking stupid these people are. Either they're too stupid to read, or they're purposely misrepresenting the facts. And the other part that they don't tell people, that's the second time it's been filed against it, and it's been dropped for a second time. They love to put out false information. Propaganda. It's now being said that the FBI wanted a grand jury in the original investigation into the Clinton Foundation, but was turned down by Obama's DOJ. Problem with that is the FBI can convene a grand jury without DOJ's permission. So that, too, is a little misleading. It is... And don't forget, we got WikiLeaks supposed to be doing a major dump on Hillary. It's... being a Hillary supporter is getting embarrassing. Listen to her speeches. Listen to these rallies she's holding. She is screaming and yelling. She's pissed off. She's lost control. She's blaming anybody and everybody else. She can't take responsibility for her own actions. And that's what it comes down to. It is her own actions that cause her downfall. It's her own actions that caused it. And she wants to blame everybody. She was blaming and attacking Trump supporters again. She's back at that again. No candidate for president has ever attacked the supporters. You attack the candidate, yes. You've never attacked the people that you are supposed to be saying that you're going to be the leader You can't be the leader of these people and attack them like that. She's on her. Everything is a... Oh, my God. Washington Post is putting a hit piece. KKK's official newspaper supports Donald Trump for president. Oh, my God. These people are desperate. Desperate. Give you a little heads up of what's to come. We're going to talk about WikiLeaks a little bit more. DNC Donna Brazil has been fired. Talk a little bit about the WikiLeaks. I know I also have a New York Post article. Here it is. Investigating Donald Trump. FBI sees no clear link to Russia. They are finding nothing. No connection. No connection at all. So all this mouthing, and that's pretty much all it is. It's disgusting. We got a lot of information to go over. It's, 6 more days. I make the joke, then we'll be dealing with 2020. And it's scary because you already have candidates lining up. Already lining up. And I could see it being... getting started ahead of time. I'm so sick of it. Yeah, this is what I do. I talk about it. But you know what? It's getting really bad, people. It is. We have 2 police officers that have been shot. Hold on. 2 officers in Iowa killed in an ambush-style attack. Thanks, Hillary. Thanks, Obama. It's... the stupidity of the liberals, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So, you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube, Speaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, at Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Much Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense show. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join a live chat. You can go to shrmedia.com. Join the conversation. So, where to start? So this article shocked the living daylights out of me. Shocked me. Because it was on The Hill. And it says, if the Dems will rig a debate for Clinton, what won't they do to win? No matter what the election outcome next week, the media will be the biggest loser. This campaign season has seen much of the media rip off the veneer of objectivity, too often acting instead as an unofficial campaign arm working to elect Hillary Clinton. The latest revelation that the town hall moderator overseeing a Democrat primary debate gave CNN contributor Donna Brazile a peek at expected question, and Brazile then fed Hillary Clinton's campaign staff a question expected to come up in the primary debate against Bernie Sanders. Confirms the too cozy relationship between the politicians and the so-called journalists and the officials who are supposed to be helping Americans get unbiased information about candidates. Bernie Sanders supporters should be outraged. We've seen time and again how the DNC was never going to allow their guy a fair shot at the nomination. Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to resign from her post at the DNC after emails revealed she was favoring Clinton and working against Sanders. Now we know that at the same time, Brazile at CNN was providing her Clinton loyalist bona fides by abusing the system and rigging the game to bolster Clinton over Sanders. The DNC must be laughing themselves silly over the fast ones they were pulling to elevate Brazile, who was let's just get through the bullshit. They cheated. My 13-year-old daughter is held to a higher standard than anyone in the DNC. My 13-year-old daughter is held to a higher standard than any of these politicians. Could you imagine if a kid looked at the test and got one of the questions and gave it to one of the kids? They'd be looking to expel that child from a school. That's the sad part. And the only thing that DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile has to say is that some of it's stolen material. She's trying to act like she's the victim in this. Well, it's sick that the Democrat Party there really should be a top-to-bottom investigation. And I mean top-to-bottom investigation from the media to the politicians of the Democratic Party. Democrat Party is a criminal organization at this time. This isn't the hyperbole, politicians are crook type stuff. It is repulsive what this party has become. That's how weak of a candidate they have. She can't even ask questions. And we've been accusing her of this time and time again. That Hillary could not answer questions unless they were fed to her. The woman cannot think on her feet. Not because she's a woman. Because she's not as smart as they prop her up to be. They have to cheat to try to win an election. They have to get the answers in advance. They got to overload and have illegal voting. They have to hide and start violence at rallies. You have bribery. Well, they call it pay to play. I call it bribery. If it wasn't for the corruption of the DOJ, she would have been at least indicted by now, or at least a grand jury. But political favors, because the Clintons seem to have a different law structure than the rest of us. It's corruption top to bottom, bottom to top. I'm appalled. I'm disgusted. And I'm embarrassed. I am absolutely embarrassed of our political landscape. How did we go from having one of the best countries, the best political system, to being a joke? We have politicians who can't even answer a question unless they're fed the answer. We have puppets. That makes me beg the question, who's the puppet master? I give CNN credit, at least. They fired Donna Brazile after it became clear that she was secretly sharing this information. And it was about a CNN event. And it's making them look worse than it already did. But again, I say, if we got nothing but puppets for politicians, who are the puppet masters? Because it scares me that who's actually in charge. It's the only place I know that people will spend $1 billion to take a job that pays you $450,000 a year. I get tired of hearing also about our senators that scream $175,000. Is it enough for them to live on? Well, that's not supposed to be a job, people. That is not supposed to be a job. That is really the scary part. For the longest time, senators weren't even paid. It was a volunteer position. And they couldn't wait to get back home. People, we are in trouble. We are in trouble when our politicians start pulling in that kind of money. Because these people are more corrupt than the mafia. And that's why I say we need a top-down investigation into the Democrat Party, into the major news agencies. There's collusion between them to defraud the American people. You have money being transferred. You have discussions and planning between campaigns and super PACs, which the Democrats push for those laws to be put into place. And it's the Democrats that are breaking those laws. You have false accusations that were leveled at Trump to try to link the supposed Russia involvement. And I can't understand for the life of me what has convinced the Democrats to try to start a war with Russia. If you don't think they're not trying, you're not paying attention. But the FBI is finishing up their investigation. And they're not finding any connection, link between Trump and Russia. Because it was empty accusations made by Hillary to distract simple-minded people from WikiLeaks. And they did the same thing with WikiLeaks to try to distract. Hell, they even tried it with this new FBI investigation to blame it on the Russians. This woman has shot her mouth off, and the Democrat Party has shot their mouth off, that any type of working together. And I thought I thought we were supposed to try to get along with other countries and not piss them the hell off. Ow, ow, ow. For those that I wasn't on yesterday and I had to shut down the show early Monday. For those that don't know, I deal with a lot of medical issues. And I had pushed it too much Friday. And I literally, it was bad. I'm still dealing with, when you fall asleep on your hand wrong and your hand is that numb tingling. Well, I still have that in my right hand. It's not fun right now. So I'll stretch, and all of a sudden it just hits me like a lightning bolt. Listen, we're going to take a little bit of a... Oh, not yet. Can't do it yet. We'll wait a couple minutes. I'm going to take a little bit of an extended break coming up. But for much of the summer, the FBI pursued a widening investigation into the Russian role into the American presidential campaign. Agents scrutinized advisors close to Donald J. Trump, which they should be also checking into Hillary Clinton, as it is her who sold 20% of her uranium stock to Russia. It is Hillary Clinton who bragged about being at Putin's house multiple times. But we don't talk about that in the media, do we? But they looked close to Donald Trump, looked for financial connection with Russian financial figures, searched for those involved in hacking the computers of the Democrats, and even chased a lead, which they ultimately came to doubt, about a possible secret channel of email communications from the Trump organizations to a Russian bank. Law enforcement officials say that no one of the investigations so far have found any conclusive or direct link between Mr. Trump and the Russian government. And even the hacking into the Democrat emails, FBI and intelligence officials now believe was aimed at disrupting the presidential election rather than electing Mr. Trump. Because let me tell you, there is not a leader in this world that wants a Trump presidency. I shouldn't say not a leader. Hillary gets in, ISIS will walk all over us. Russia will continue to walk all over us. Trump gets in, these organizations and countries will be held to a higher standard. So you tell me, which one would you want? There's issue in North Carolina right now. NAACP's crying about people being removed. Well, if we had a voter ID, we wouldn't be having this discussion now, would we? As that video I played earlier, it's kind of funny that they think that women and blacks are not smart enough to get IDs. That really makes me laugh. It's... And what's funny is Hillary Clinton supporter angry over what they regard as a lack of scrutiny of Mr. Trump by law enforcement officials push for these investigations. In recent days, they have also demanded that James Comey, the director of the FBI, discuss them publicly, as he did last week when he announced that the new batches of emails possibly connected to Ms. Clinton had been discovered. Again, it's more distraction from the truth of the matter. That's what it comes down to. Distractions. All right, we're going to take a little bit of extended break. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Planet Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube, Speaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
and neither would you, Derek, this star nonsense. No, it isn't.
I'm sure of it.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you want a kick-ass t-shirt? Great. Go to reaver.one/shop. Check it out. Pick them up. Oh. All right. Now, this next one pissed me off to no end yesterday. How dare Hillary Clinton try to take stolen valor? She's trying to use now 9/11, the New York City terror attacks, in her campaigning. And it's an outright fucking lie, you pathetic excuse for a human being, Hillary Clinton. She goes on to make claims that she knows exactly what the Pulse nightclub Orlando attack was like. And I was in New York City on 9/11 as one of the 2 senators. She was nowhere fucking near New York City. She is Washington, D.C., very comfy behind her security. She is so far behind that she outright lies all the time. She makes Obama look like a truth teller. And listen to the way she's talking. She's screaming at the people at her rallies.
I know what happened not far from here at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. I was in New York City on 9/11 as one of the 2 senators. I will defeat City on 9/11 as Orlando. I was in New York City on 9/11 as one of the 2 senators. I was in New York City on 9/11 as one of the 2 senators. I was in New York City. I was in New York City. I was in New York City on 9/11 as one of the 2.
Even Politico has shown she was in Washington, D.C. This is how desperate she is getting. It's Obama. People make stuff up when Hillary makes a mistake. A mistake is, yeah, I should have dotted that I. Hillary, it's outright breaking the fucking law. That's not a mistake. It's It's appalling. She will say anything to get elected, people. Again, Politico. As a United States Senator, she was in Washington, D.C. at her home in Whitehaven when the first planes hit the World Trade Center. She spent most of the day reacting to the attacks in media interviews and joined her colleagues singing God Bless America on the Capitol Hill steps. She went back on September 12th and was right back into Washington, D.C. the same day. It's... If it wasn't for lying, if it wasn't for the media covering up her illegal activities, she would have never won the primaries. It's appalling. And this is why I say we have to hold them to a standard. They are the leaders of our country. They need to be held to a higher standard than us, the public, which means they cannot get away with breaking the laws. How can they be enforcing these laws, creating these laws when they don't follow them themselves? They come up with these great ideas of, we're going to do this and make it look all good, but we're going to break them behind your back. We already know how we're going to get around those laws that we put in place. These news agencies are just as guilty. And if there was money that has changed hands, there needs to be a major investigation into this. This is not some tagline of drain the swamp. This is American politics at its worst. It's and then they talk about, I love this. I know it's not the end all be all, but the rallies. Hillary can barely get 100 people if she's lucky. Trump's getting tens of thousands of people. Something's not adding up there, people. In real life, I can't find I can't find Hillary supporters. One of the things I find funny is they're supposed to be the champions of certain groups. But if those people don't back them up, they get attacked. Peter Thiel, creator of PayPal, I think it is, gave a speech yesterday. I'm going to play some of it for a minute.
Thank you very much for having me here. Everybody knows we've been living through a crazy election year. Real events seem like the rehearsals for Saturday Night Live. Only an outbreak of insanity would seem to account for the unprecedented fact that this year a political outsider managed to win a major party nomination. To the people who are used to influencing our choice of leaders, to the wealthy people who give money and the commentators who give reasons why, it all seems like a bad dream. Donors don't want to find out how and why we got here. They just want to move on. Come November 9th, they hope everyone else will go back to business as usual. But it is just this heedlessness, this temptation to ignore difficult realities indulged in by our most influential citizens that got us where we are today. A lot of successful people are too proud to admit it, since it seems to put their success in question. But the truth is, no matter how crazy this election seems, it is less crazy than the condition of our country. Just look at the generation that supplies most of our leaders. The baby boomers are entering retirement in a state of actuarial bankruptcy. 64% of those over the age of 55 have less than a year's worth of savings to their name. That is a problem, especially when this is the only country where you have to pay up to 10 times as much for simple medicines as you would pay anywhere else. America's overpriced healthcare system might help subsidize the rest of the world, but that doesn't help the Americans who can't afford it, and they've started to notice. Our youngest citizens may not have huge medical bills, but their college tuition keeps on increasing faster than the rate of inflation, adding more every year to our $1.3 trillion mountain of student debt. America has become the only country where students take on loans they can never escape, not even by declaring bankruptcy. Stuck in this broken system, millennials are the first generation who expect their own lives to be worse than the lives of their parents. While American families' expenses have been increasing relentlessly, their incomes have been stagnant. In real dollars, the median household makes less money today than it made 17 years ago. Nearly half of Americans wouldn't be able to come up with $400 if they needed it for an emergency. Yet while households struggle to keep up with the challenges of everyday life, the government is wasting trillions of dollars of taxpayer money on faraway wars. Right now, we're fighting 5 of them: in Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia. Now, not everyone is hurting. In the wealthy suburbs that ring Washington, D.C., people are doing just fine. Where I work in Silicon Valley, people are doing just great. But most Americans don't live by the Beltway or the San Francisco Bay. Most Americans haven't been part of that prosperity. It shouldn't be surprising to see people vote for Bernie Sanders or for Donald Trump, who is the only outsider left in the race. Very few people who vote for president have ever thought of doing something so extreme as running for president. The people who run are often polarizing. This election year, both major candidates are imperfect people, to say the least. Now, I don't agree with everything Donald Trump has said and done, and I don't think the millions of other people voting for him do either. Nobody thinks his comments about women were acceptable. I agree, they were clearly offensive and inappropriate. But I don't think the voters pull the lever in order to endorse a candidate's flaws. It's not a lack of judgment that leads Americans to vote for Trump. We're voting for Trump because we judge the leadership of our country to have failed. This judgment has been hard to accept for some of the country's most fortunate, socially prominent people. It's certainly been hard to accept for Silicon Valley, where many people have learned to keep quiet if they dissent from the coastal bubble. Louder voices have sent a message that they do not intend to tolerate the views of one half of the country. This intolerance has taken on some bizarre forms. The Advocate, a magazine which once praised me as a gay innovator, even published an article saying that as of now I am, and I quote, not a gay man, unquote, because I don't agree with their politics. The lie behind the buzzword of diversity could not be made more clear. If you don't conform, then you don't count as diverse, no matter what your personal background. Faced with such contempt, why do voters still support Donald Trump? Even if they think the American situation is serious, why would they think that Trump, of all people, could make it any better? I think it's because of the big things that Trump gets right. For example, free trade has not worked out well for all of America. It helps Trump that the other side just doesn't get it. All of our elites preach free trade. The highly educated people who make public policy explain that cheap imports make everyone a winner, according to economic theory. But in actual practice, we've lost tens of thousands of factories and millions of jobs to foreign trade. The heartland has been devastated. Maybe policymakers really believe that nobody loses, or maybe they don't worry about it too much because they think they're among the winners. The sheer size of the U.S. trade deficit shows that something has gone badly wrong. The most developed country in the world should be exporting capital to less developed countries. Instead, the United States is importing more than $500 billion every year. That money flows into financial assets. It distorts our economy in favor of more banking and more financialization, and it gives the well-connected people who benefit a reason to defend the status quo. But not everyone benefits, and the Trump voters know it. I think Trump voters are also tired of war. We have been at war for 15 years, and we have spent more than $4.6 trillion. More than 2 million people have lost their lives, and more than 5,000 American soldiers have been killed. But we haven't won. The Bush administration promised that $50 billion could bring democracy to Iraq. Instead, we've squandered 40 times as much to bring about chaos. Yet even after these bipartisan failures, the Democratic Party is more hawkish today than at any time since it began the war in Vietnam. Harking back to the no-fly zone that Bill Clinton enforced over Iraq before Bush's failed war, now Hillary Clinton has called for a no-fly zone over Syria. Incredibly, that would be a mistake even more reckless than invading Iraq. Since most of the planes flying over Syria today are Russian planes, Clinton's proposed course of action would do worse than involve us in a messy civil war. It would risk a direct nuclear conflict. What explains this eagerness to escalate a dangerous situation? How can Hillary Clinton be so wildly over-optimistic about the outcome of war? I would suggest that it comes from a lot of practice. For a long time, our elites have been in the habit of denying difficult realities. That's how bubbles form. Whenever there is a hard problem, but people want to believe in an easy solution, they will be tempted to deny reality and inflate a bubble. Something about the experience of the baby boomers, whose lives have been so much easier than their parents' or their children's, has led them to buy into bubbles again and again. The trade bubble says everyone's a winner. The war bubble says victory is just around the corner. But these over-optimistic stories simply haven't been true, and voters are tired of being lied to. It was both insane and somehow inevitable that DC insiders expected this election to be a rerun between the two political dynasties who led us through the two most gigantic financial bubbles of our time. President George W. Bush presided over the inflation of a housing bubble so big that its collapse is still causing economic stagnation today. But what's strangely forgotten is that last decade's housing bubble was just an attempt to make up for the gains that had been lost in the decade before that. In the 1990s, President Bill Clinton presided over an enormous stock market bubble and a devastating crash in 2000, just as his second term was coming to an end. That's how long the same people have been pursuing the same disastrous policies. Now that someone different is in the running, someone who rejects the false, reassuring stories that tell us everything is fine, his larger-than-life persona attracts a lot of attention. Nobody would suggest that Donald Trump is a humble man. But the big things he's right about amount to a much-needed dose of humility in our politics. Very unusually for a presidential candidate, he has questioned the core concept of American exceptionalism. He doesn't think the force of optimism alone can change reality without hard work. Just as much as it's about making America great, Trump's agenda is about making America a normal country. A normal country doesn't have a $500 billion trade deficit. A normal country doesn't fight 5 simultaneous undeclared wars. In a normal country, the government actually does its job. And today it's important to recognize that the government has a job to do. Voters are tired of hearing conservative politicians say that government never works. They know the government wasn't always this broken. The Manhattan Project, the interstate highway system, the Apollo program, whatever you think of these ventures, you cannot doubt the competence of the government that got them done. But we have fallen very far from that standard. We cannot let free market ideology serve as an excuse for decline. No matter what happens in this election, what Trump represents isn't crazy and it's not going away. He points toward a new Republican Party beyond the dogmas of Reaganism. He points even beyond the remaking of one party to a new American politics that overcomes denial, rejects bubble thinking, and reckons with reality. When the distracting spectacles of this election season are forgotten and the history of our time is written, the only important question will be whether or not that new politics came too late. Thank you.
There you go. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, and YouTube, Speaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Trump's speaking right now in Miami. We're probably going to peek in on that in a minute. You know what? We're going to go to that now. Hold on.
system in every way. But this is your chance, finally, to change it. November 8th. Now, in Florida's case earlier. Now, just so you understand, record turnout, unbelievable numbers, unbelievable. We're doing great with the African-American community. We're doing great with the Hispanic community. And the lines are 4, 5, and 6 blocks long. They've never seen anything like it. And the polls have just come up. We're way up in Florida. I shouldn't say that because I want you to go vote. Okay, ready? We're going to pretend we're down. We're down. Pretend, right? We'll pretend we're down. Now, we got to win. We got to win big. We got to beat her. Got to beat her. We're up in Ohio. We're up in Iowa. We're up in North Carolina. I think we're doing great in Pennsylvania, from what I hear. Folks, you're going to be so proud. You're going to be so proud. We're going to make America great again. You're going to be so happy, and you're going to be so proud of your country again. If Hillary Clinton were to be elected, it would create an unprecedented and protracted constitutional crisis. Haven't we just been through a lot with the Clintons, right? Remember when he was impeached for lying? He can't practice law. He doesn't have the right to practice law. Didn't we just go through this? And the last thing we need is another 4 years of Obama. It's the last thing. And this will be worse. That means ISIS. That means high taxes. That means bad health care. That means no border. Without a border, we don't have a country. The work of government would grind to a halt if she were ever elected. She'll be in court for her entire tenure. And she'll be convicted. Because, look, the first time, I mean, frankly, forget about this time. The first time, she gets a subpoena from the United States Congress and she deletes everything. There shouldn't have been a second time, but I have respect that the FBI has given it a second chance. And this time, I have no doubt that in that 650,000 emails, did you see where they said, oh, we're not worried, they're duplicates? How can there be duplicates if there are hundreds of thousands more than you started off with? So today, I guess WikiLeaks, it sounds like, is going to be dropping some more. And if we met tomorrow, I'll tell you about it tomorrow. But one beauty that's been caught was, and this was just recently, newly released, where they say, we're having a dump of all of those emails. In another communication, Bill Clinton's chief of staff says foreign government, right? This should be another one, just like Swamp, you know, the Swamp little statement that everyone... Listen, this one, do you remember what it is? Right. All the money is in, right? They said all the money is in. They're talking about foreign money pouring into their pockets. They said...
Drain the swamp. We're at a crossroad. We are at a crossroad. And we can stay on the path that we've been going, which is not working for America. Or we could try something different for once. That's why I don't understand. We've been screaming for a non-politician to come straighten our system out. We get one, and they bitch. I don't understand. The heck? New Jersey is looking to add a sales tax on the gas as it is. Anything to steal money from American people, the politicians will do it. It's we need to straighten out. And what's appalling to me is the double standard we have going on. The double standard. Hillary Clinton, during yesterday's rally here in Florida, she talked about a civil war if Trump wins. Now, if Trump would have made that comment, the media would be jumping all over this, saying that he wants the country to take arms against the government in a fair and democratic process. But when she says it, it's ignored. I'm sorry, it was in Cincinnati, Ohio on Halloween. It's scary just how much fear-mongering this woman. She's claiming her people are going to start a civil war. It's kind of funny because those same people are against guns, and most of them are unarmed. How the fuck are they going to start a civil war without the arms? That's not saying that we're going to start a civil war, but I'm not the one out there shooting their mouth off saying we're going to wind up in a civil war because she loses the election. Secret Service needs to be investigating her little ass. Well, maybe not little. I cannot believe the audacity. And I cannot believe just how desperate she is. And it's so blatant, but people actually fall for it. And the media thinks, even after ratings falling, the ratings are dropping. They still think they can do this to the American people, and we're paying attention, that we're believing, that we're listening. Then you have Senator Harry, I got Alzheimer's, Reid. He ought to just shut his mouth and bow out gracefully. No, he has to take one last shot at destroying our politics even worse. And he's trying to criminalize the police, the law enforcement. He's trying to criminalize them. Harry Reid is accusing FBI director of violating federal laws. That's leading senior elected officials to express alarm over what they call an attempt to criminalize law enforcement. And this is a screaming message coming from the Democrats. Criminals usually act this way. FBI agents discovered 650,000 emails to and from Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's closest aide and confidant. When those agents examined a computer as part of a federal child pornography, pedophile, criminal investigation of Abedin's husband. So, as I've said before, I'll say it again. There's only one person to blame. At least 4 FBI field offices, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, New York City, and Little Rock, Arkansas, were also investigating possible law-breaking, corruption, pay-to-play, bribery with the Clinton Foundation. When Comey announced he had reopened the criminal investigation into Clinton's email, the far left threw out its glowing praise of Comey from the summer. And to quote Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, saying, "Comey, we are privileged in our country to have him be the director of the FBI." But Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid took this to a new level, accusing Comey not only of being political, but of breaking federal law. Reid alleges that Comey's violated the Hatch Act, which makes it illegal for a federal officer to use the powers of the government to support or oppose a particular candidate. The Hatch Act was designed to prevent federal officials from abusing their power to deliberately interfere in a federal election. And once again, Harry Reid is going over the top. Surprise, surprise. In 1992, days before the election, the one that Hillary Clinton's husband, Bill Clinton, won the White House in, days before it, Justice Department investigator Lawrence Welsh went public with an indictment of Reagan Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger regarding Iran-Contra, casting a shadow on President George H.W. Bush right before Election Day. Clinton supporters didn't run to the camera back then to condemn a federal law enforcement investigator making such an announcement, as people were getting ready to vote when the shoe was on the other foot. It's absolutely ridiculous. No candidate is above the law. And again, only Hillary Clinton is to blame for any of these issues. And what's funny is even the White House is backing FBI Director Comey. Even the White House is backing him. Maybe Harry Reid ought to keep his mouth shut. Because the only thing, if you watch that man talk, you could see he's being prodded. The poor man needs to be in medical facilities, not brought out there like a puppet. It is absolutely disgusting. It's unbelievable. And I do understand Trump gets elected. shortly after he's elected, we are going to have an attack. I know that. MSNBC is trying to go on with this KKK bullshit. Same playbook. Same crap. Different day. It's sad how low the left will go. It is absolutely sad. And almost comical at one point. The trolls are out. The trolls are out in droves. And they think that they're convincing people. The only thing they're doing is pissing people off and pushing them further and further away. I just... I don't know. I am kind of speechless at this point. Someone just tweeted that they have foreigners monitoring our elections, and they've all been asking, how can you hope to have a legitimate election without photo ID? And there's only one that keeps fighting it. Hang on. From a Hillary rally, she went after a Trump supporter.
I am sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision and behavior of people who support Donald Trump.
Did you hear that? Oh my God, this woman needs help.
No, I am sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision and behavior. No, I am sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision.
Who's the violent one? Who's the dark one? Holy shit, that woman needs medication. Whew. Now compare that to...
So they gave me, last week, the Bay of Pigs Association, right? You know. They gave me their award last week, and it was a great honor. And we're going to fight very hard for the Cubans, and we're going to fight very, very hard for the Hispanics, because they have not been properly taken care of. What's happened with the Hispanic population in our country is not right. What's happened with the inner cities of our country, the African-American community, the Hispanic community, is very...
Now, I mean, seriously, now compare that to Hillary. Oh, now I lost it. that's... It's unbelievable, the difference. One sounds presidential, one sounds like, well, she needs to be in a mental institution. Where is it? I think I almost found it again. Come on. Where is it? Nope. I hate this. There's no rhyme or reason to the listing of Twitter. And you can, if you find something to go back to it, it's gone. Hey, here it is. So, hang on, Trump.
All right. I'm honored to have the endorsement of over 200
That's
top
Trump.
admirals.
Oh, I am sick and tired of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous vision and behavior.
That's what we're going to have.
Trump.
We hopefully have to get rid of ISIS. We're going to get rid of ISIS. Don't worry. We're getting rid of ISIS. But we have to get to...
Of the negative, dark, divisive, dangerous...
You tell me which one sounds presidential and which one sounds like a raving lunatic. Well, that about does it for the Reaver of Common Sense. I want to remind everybody tonight is the best night in conservative media. It starts with the Southside Mutt Show at 8 o'clock right here on SHR Media. Then we have Ken the Conservative from 9 until 11. And then 11 o'clock we have none other than the Sackhead Radio Show. So tune in tonight. Catch the Southside Mutt Show with the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, followed by Ken the Conservative. And then, I don't know why I always think of the, dude, where's my car? And then you'll have the Sackheads Radio Show. Until tomorrow, I will be back with the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media from 11 to 1 p.m. Have a great day. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.